Okay, everybody, be on your best behavior. We're recording this meeting of the Normal Heights Community Planning Group. By the way, we record it to the cloud, and then Vice Chair Paul and Vicki, Secretary, deal with it to come up with the minutes. I think somebody puts it on YouTube. I'm not certain. But in any case, what you say may go down in posterity forever. Let me remind you that if you're visiting and would like to have a record of your attendance, please type your name and perhaps a way to contact you if you wish into the chat. That way, Vicki, the chair, knows that you've attended and you get credit for your attendance. However, the chat will not be used for the activities of the meeting itself. You're welcome to chat amongst yourselves, share information, but I don't monitor it, and I don't think anybody else on the board necessarily monitors the chat. So it's not official business place. I hope that makes sense. Agenda setting. You've got the agenda in front of you, and on the screen, are there any requests from board members to add or change the agenda setting or items? Hearing none.
I don't see the agenda on screen, but that's okay for me.
Okay. By the way, if you wish to be heard, you need to unmute yourself and speak up. Hopefully we can do that in an orderly fashion, or you can use the what's it called? You can raise a hand through one of the applications in Zoom. All right. First off, since we're going to go with the agenda we have, agenda next is approving the minutes from our previous meetings provided by Vicki. Thank you, Vicki, by the way. Are there any changes, corrections, additions, or can I have a motion to accept?
I just want to mention the reason the minutes were up on the screen was just because I had made the revision to the motion and second for item number 8 from last month. At the time that I sent it out to the board members, I wasn't sure who did the motion or the second, but now that I've been told, they're included.
Great. So would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll motion to accept, Jim.
Taylor. That's Taylor, thank you. So you think your wife did a good job then?
There's only one option there.
Yeah, there is. Is there a second?
I'll second.
That's Alan, thank you. If anybody objects, please raise a hand or speak up. Otherwise, I'm going to accept the minutes as provided by Secretary Vicki. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to next is a treasurer's report. Ellen, I doubt that you have much of a report, but you could, since this is your first official meeting as treasurer, you could wow us with your accounting expertise.
We still have $2,085.99.
Outstanding. Any questions of the treasurer? I hope not. Okay, moving along. Let's see if I can. There we go. So it's time for non-agenda public comment. If we have any any things that you'd like to add, that would be 2 minutes per person. Do we have any non-agenda public comment? Hearing none, I'm going to move to an item that you haven't seen before. I was asked by Alberto Melchor, who's with us, if he could have some time to present information about what his organization does in terms of social services. And since I know Molly Lorden and that group, I asked her to participate also. In the season, I think it's appropriate to bring up how we can help others. And so Alberto, would you like to unmute yourself and take the floor?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name's Alberto Melchor. I am with a local nonprofit agency called Safe Harbors Network. And what Safe Harbors Network does is provide temporary housing to refugees and asylum seekers. We are in collaboration or under the umbrella of what's called the Christ Ministry Center at the Methodist Church that is on 33rd and Mead. So you're probably familiar with that building. So first, I wanted to, first of all, introduce myself because I do intend to be a little bit more involved in the area, the Normal Heights, where the ministry center is actually located. I will add that I was a longtime resident of Normal Heights, a good 6 years up until 2016, when the apartment building that I lived in was sold. But so I'm very familiar with the area. So what I wanted to do today is just to kind of give, you know, if you're not aware of what the center does, you know, it's a church there. If you're not familiar with what happens there. So at the Christ Ministry Center, there are a variety of social services that are available if, you know, if you need to refer families, or if it's a community resource within Normal Heights. So if you're not familiar with it, there's several things that happen there. One is the Safe Harbors Network, the program that I am under. Like I mentioned, it's we're providing temporary housing to refugees and asylum seekers, and that's through a network. The individuals that we house are not all on site. They are placed in a variety of different placements throughout the city or throughout the county. So it's not like a shelter, like a big shelter per se, but that's where the network headquarters is. In addition, there's a food bank that operates on Wednesdays. There are 2 medical clinics that operate at the ministry center as well on Tuesdays and Thursdays. There are also services, clothing services. If somebody needs, you know, some extra clothes, that's an area where that can be accessed. So like I said, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself, give just a quick overview of what we do. I had requested of the chair that I be giving more time, a little bit more extensive time on next month's agenda. But yeah, so like I said, I have a history in Normal Heights connected to that particular neighborhood, and it's just a resource that is available. You may or may not know about it. Sometimes people see the church, they see a lot of movement, but they're not sure what happens there. So yes, I see a question.
Vicky had a question. I think she raised her hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. So is this, where is the center? Is it at the Methodist Church or?
The Christ Ministry Center is at the Methodist Church that is located on 33rd and Mead.
33rd and Mead. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Yes. And then I'll enter my contact information in the chat if you have additional questions. Like I said, I would like to make a little more extensive presentation on our current project next month if possible.
Sure, we can talk about that. Are there any questions for Alberto? Paul, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I believe I looked at your website and found the information both enlightening and hopeful. So if you would include that URL to the others as well as your contact information, that'd be
Yes.
appreciated. Thank you.
Will do.
Other questions? Thank you for the update, Alberto. I asked Molly if she would provide information about the other, another church provides as far as services, especially around the holidays, but all the time.
Yeah.
Molly, you want to unmute and speak up?
Yeah, thank you, Jim, and thanks, Alberto. So I'm with Normal Heights United Methodist Church, the other United Methodist Church on Mansfield and Adams. So you'll see us too. But we've actually, this is our 4-year anniversary this month of being one of the sites for Safe Harbors. So we do house asylum seekers and refugees here on site, which is super fun. Yeah, I wanted to give a couple of quick things. It's been I come to these, but it's been a while since I've probably run through some of the things we have going on. The first, if you've walked by, you've seen our community fridge right out front, kind of a take it or leave it model, like the little free libraries. We've been having some fridge issues. Our fridge actually broke. So we're in the process of getting a new one, but in the meantime, we still have a fridge inside that we're using. So if you want to donate to that, we would love for you to kind of make it a part of your routine to, when you're shopping for yourself, shop for your neighbors and put items in there. If you have any questions about what to buy, I have little handy cards and I can share that info with you. Or if you want to donate towards the cost of a new fridge, because let me tell you, this fridge has been serving this neighborhood like tirelessly. I mean, it's people from all walks of life facing all sorts of different food insecurity, housed and unhoused. It really does serve our neighborhood in a pretty profound way. I mean, literally a child came up to me asking for food from it today. Like, it serves just all populations. We're also partnering with a local group called Uplift to do a donation drive for the holidays for a lot of things like warm jackets, blankets, socks, all that type of stuff as these nights get colder. So we're a drop-off site. So if you are interested in doing that, if you are going to clean out your closet, prepare for some maybe new Christmas clothes, and you want to bring those somewhere, we'll take those. We also have a program we call Next Steps, which is by appointment hours with a social worker.
Uh-oh. Molly just froze. We'll see if she comes back. And perhaps she and Alberto could stick information and referral stuff into the chat. There you are. I see you, but I can't hear you right now.
Oh, no.
There you go. You're
Okay.
back.
When did I cut out?
Good question. About
Okay.
30 seconds.
Okay. So next steps are drop-in social service hours. Did you hear me say that? Yeah.
Yep.
So just a way of getting connected to resources in the neighborhood. So if you or anyone you know is like, I might qualify for something, but I don't know, I need help, we've got people to help with that. We also have a community fund, which is basically a mutual aid fund to just reallocate resources. I just checked, since 2020, when we started it, we have given out almost $19,000 in that fund, all donation based. Some people in this group have given towards it. It's amazing. Just a way of helping folks through those hard times when they get hit and don't have the resources to back it up. So if you are needing funds or want to donate to it, my email's in the chat, but you can ask me. And then also we've been getting a lot more requests from AA groups for meeting spaces. So we're ramping up on that and have lots of different AA groups that meet throughout the week with all different kind of focuses. So if that's of interest, we have that info as well. Yeah, so those are some of the things going on. Thank you.
Thanks for the update. I may reach out to some of the other social services areas in the neighborhood, just so we all know what's available to help people out.
And that's the thing, there's so much more than we realize. So we love being a part of that.
You too. So thank you, Alberto and Molly. Unless there's any questions, I'm going to move the agenda along. Although I'm going to add one notice. I noticed Scott with the Adams Avenue Business Association isn't on. There is, I think he's sponsoring, or at least someone is sponsoring a holiday home decoration contest. And if any of the board members are participating in that contest, and would like to unabashedly ask for our votes, go right ahead and speak up. I plan to get out on my bicycle and ride around the neighborhood once we know where all the contests are. People do a great job. It's great.
And Jim, I want to jump in real quick. I'm not going to plug my house decorations, but I do want to let people know, if you have friends or family or yourself who likes riding bikes, we are doing an official bike ride this Saturday at 4:30, meeting in the northwest area of Ward Park. And if that's when the plan is to leave. So come a little early, tune your bike up, meet some people. And then there's also going to be an opportunity for bike lighting for a fee of $5 to $10 per wheel. Or total, or I'm not sure exactly how the price is going to go, but it's reasonable. And that, if you're planning to do that, we'd advise to arrive around 3 o'clock to allow plenty of time.
That's great. Thanks, Greg.
Yeah.
I participated in one of those a couple of years ago. It was pretty amazing. There must have been 40 people or so.
Yeah, we're hoping, I guess last year I didn't participate, but I'm obviously participating this year. And I think it was around 70, 75 last year. So
Wow.
Thanks to Bike SD, we're going to get a good route planned and, go out together and maybe enjoy some refreshments in Adams Avenue after.
Refreshments are always welcome. Okay, if it's okay, we're going to move to the action decision items. The first one is just really a notice that we still have one vacancy on the board, and people who qualify and are interested in participating in helping. So if you know a neighbor or someone who would like to participate, make sure they know what the requirements are and that they attend a couple of meetings. We will I think it's March. I think it's March that we have our elections for new board members. So that's probably the best time. We're not handicapped being at 14. We're doing fine, but it is good to fill out the group. Next on the action items. Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there an age limit on membership on the board? Is it 18 plus?
I don't recall any reference to an age limit. I know that at least one community planning group has a specific position for youth. I'm not sure if they designate an age, but if someone was otherwise qualified, I don't see a reason not to accept someone.
Okay, because I'm thinking that there are some pretty smart high school seniors and freshman college students that are civic minded, and it might be worth reaching out to them.
Yeah, getting a future mayor involved would be great. So reach out. You probably need parent permission, but in any case. Next is the monthly question of shall we meet live or teleconferenced. You'll notice that the agenda says December 6th. It should say January 3rd. Our next meeting would be January 3rd. There was quite a discussion at the Community Planners Committee about whether the governor's allowance under the Brown Act for a teleconference meeting would continue. As far as we know, it's continued through January. We are still waiting for questions about whether it could be continued. Many planning groups wish to have the teleconference ability continue, primarily because they don't have a space to meet. We're lucky that we have the community center available to us. But in any case, the question's before us. Shall we meet teleconference or live on January 3rd, our next meeting?
I would make a motion to have it remote or hybrid.
There's a motion on the floor from Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'll second it. Oh, or Brian can.
Brian and Vicky, but get a double second on there. Any discussion? So the vote will be yes or no. I'm going to, for the convenience, I'm going to ask if anyone is opposed to having our meeting teleconferenced and or hybrid, which would mean teleconference and live on January 3rd. Any opposed board members? All right, hearing none, we'll move to the next item. Apparently the Park and Rec Department is undergoing a policy change on the development of their opportunity fund. And it looks like it's an effort to take funding and allocate the available funding based on equitability, which primarily means income-based or other opportunities lost, rather than what it's been used before, primarily a population and or existing facilities concerns. And I don't know much more about this, but I thought it was an opportunity for us to speak up about whether we think this is an appropriate change or not. Does anyone have more information that they'd like to add about this or to make a motion one way or another?
I did read the act itself, and it's one thing that was a little troubling was that it's basically the allocation is at the discretion of the mayor or the mayor's designee. So it has a very centralized power aspect to it. If you're okay with that, cool. If not, be so advised.
Well, that's a little troubling to me anyway. I'm not sure if Normal Heights qualifies as an underserved community, although based on the number area of parks and park facilities, I suspect that Normal Heights is quite underserved. Vicky, I see your hand up.
So in the paper that you sent us, it looked like they had meetings at other recreation centers. And like one I noticed was Scripps Ranch. And I don't know if that was just as a meeting place to discuss, or if that was being considered as one of the locations. But if so, that just doesn't make sense to me.
Scripps Ranch is not my idea of an underserved community, but who knows?
In the analysis that was provided by the city, there was a ranking of communities, and we were what I would call above the pay line, which means that I think we ranked number 18, but we were in the group that would receive funding.
Brian, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to actually say what Paul said. According to the matrix that was sent out, I'm not sure which one we technically fall into because I'm not sure what the boundaries of these are, but both the North Park one and the Adams one are above the pay line, above the fold, I guess you could say. So either way, Scripps Ranch is definitely at the bottom of this list. They have far more negative points than anyone else has positive points.
Okay, we got a little more information shared. Francis, you had your hand up and then took it down. Did you want to speak?
Yeah, I just wanted to concur with what everyone pretty much said so far. According to that chart, it seemed to me Adams, the rankings that are shown in the chart in the literature that you sent us, it looks like we would fall into a category of qualifying for some funding, but not as much as some other places. Like I can't remember what things were that were at the top of the list. But I also am concerned, as Paul said, there's the appointment of a quote director, and the director is, I think, appointed by the mayor, and the director seems to have a lot of unilateral power, I guess, for one of a better word, and that is, I think, a little disturbing, concerning. Just not a lot of transparency as how this will all be controlled and how the decisions will be made, basically.
Okay. As chair, I try not to get too involved with the decision making. I'm here to help us make a decision. Is there enough information available that the group would like to make a recommendation of approval of this change or not? I'll wait for a moment.
I don't think we have enough information. So I guess my motion would be
No
Um,
motion.
no motion. Yeah.
Okay, it's certainly it's not directly related to land use, but certainly related. That's why I brought it up. Okay. I'm going to move to the next item, if that's okay. Item 10. Paul and Brian and some of us have been discussing and moving to make our internet presence more, what would you call it? Easier to access, a greater presence, and somewhat in anticipation of the city perhaps cutting back on the resources it provides to us in terms of the internet. You may know that the city keeps our agendas, publishes and sends our agendas after I provide them. They also keep our minutes and contact information on the city's website. That is something that we hope continues, but we're not certain it will. So Paul primarily has led this effort, and I asked him to bring us up to date. What's the process, Paul?
Well, so far what we've done is we've built a framework, a website. It's a blank page right now. Brian's going to be working with Jim and Vicky and probably maybe myself a little bit to populate that with content and features. It's basically for the technical pieces, it's WordPress. It's hosted on a shared hosting server that is paid for by the aerospace industry, one of my clients. So there's no charge there. The only cost to us is just the domain name, which I think is about $8 a year.
So work in progress. You folks, if you've done a Google search for Normal Heights Community Planning Group, you may have run into at least one or two other out there that have nothing to do with us. So it's I think it's worthwhile for us to pursue this. Any comments or questions on that? Hearing none, I guess Paul and Brian and Vicky, they trust us to move forward. We'll see how it works. All right, moving to reports. Okay, so it's an opportunity for the elected official representatives to speak up and bring us up to date, or us to bring questions to them. Do we have any representatives here who would like to take the floor? Ryan, I see your hand up. Go for it.
Hey everyone, good evening. Just wanted to mention that on Monday, the new redistricting goes into effect. So this will be actually my last meeting here at Normal Heights Planning. It'll be under Council President Shawneela Rivera. And so I'll be working with their office on a smooth transition of kind of what the neighborhood issues are. Any anything that the community has brought into my attention. And so I don't know who exactly is going to be handling it in their office. I believe it's going to be Ben Mendoza. And I have met with them on some of the issues going on. And so we're going to try to make the transition as smooth as possible. Of course, I will still, be around if there's anything that, you need to reach out to me about, more than happy to. But I just wanted to let everyone know. And then, also I just wanted to say how much I appreciate, this board. I've attended a lot of community planning meetings, and this is actually, one of the most engaged, one of, the most respectful. And I just want to tell you on a personal note how much I appreciate all of you and your service to the community, your passion for the community, and just all of the work that you do. I know it's not easy. I know that being on a planning board, I've served on one before myself. It's a kind of a thankless job, but it really does, make an impact. And I just want you to know that myself and the council member does value that, and we really appreciate it. Just a couple issues. There has been, some reports of, more so than normal missed trash collections. Just please report those on Get It Done before escalating it to the council offices, just because the department usually asks for that Get It Done report number. I know that there's still staffing issues with environmental services. I know they're trying to work on that. Also with water bills, I know we've been getting kind of an influx of constituents having issues with their water bills. Katie Keach, who's the public utilities director, she's does an amazing job in getting that kind of stuff resolved. So please just reach out to the council representative that's going to be for D9, and they will escalate it to that department. And like I said, she's really good about resolving stuff. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then, just kind of an update from our office of kind of looking in the future of what the council member is going to be. For some of the big issues we're going to be pursuing is our city's towing policies. And then also, of course, homelessness, which is, obviously the kind of the biggest issue in our city right now. Council member is going to be looking to update some municipal codes regarding enforcement, along with pursuing safe village or safe campsites. That's kind of a way to get people off the streets and the sidewalks and the canyons and the parks, but also having a safe, place where they can, have get services, have access to restrooms and showers, but not, be out on the street. So those are some of the things that he's going to be working on. That's going to be coming, within the next year. And again, I just, wanted to express my appreciation for all of you, and I will see you around. Thank you.
Ryan, let me speak first and say I encourage everybody to call and bother you as much as possible before Monday, because after that, of course, can't reach you. Thanks for your kind words. Participating on a planning group is its own reward because they don't pay you. Do we have any, let me bring up one thing, Ryan. There's coming to the planning department committee is an issue about changing things to do with density and the transit districts. And apparently someone with the city wants to change the area, the distance that you compute from a house to a transit line. I think the one change to make it as a walking distance, not as the crow flies, certainly makes sense. But we we're not happy with the change of from a half mile to a mile distance. And I think we sent a letter about that, and I just thought I'd bring it up. You don't need to respond on that, but.
Yeah, and I did see that letter. I did print it out and give that to the council member to read himself as well. But yeah, I just want to let you know that I did receive that and I did pass that along. And then I did escalate those kind of, we got a couple, not just the letter, but we got a couple individual people reach out, just kind of that concern that I escalated as well to the department.
Great, thank you. So everybody on the call, here's your almost last chance to speak to Brian as representative for District 3. We are moving, although you won't feel it. We're moving to District 9. And so no longer having Ryan with us, I will reach out to District 9 and make sure whether it's Marianne or Ben, as you suggested, that we hope to get them engaged. Any questions or comments for Ryan? Well, Ryan, you're off the hook.
Thanks. And like I said, I'll still be, if, there's issues that come up, and stuff like that, I'm more than happy to. I know not everyone in the district or not everyone in Normal Heights is going to realize that they've been redistricted. So I'll still be passing, any kind of issues and concerns along to the D9 office.
Great.
And a
Okay,
round of applause for Ryan.
it's almost a standing ovation, We're going to have a whole new system of reactions when telecommuting, and I'm looking forward to this. Any case, moving along, I don't see any other representatives here. Okay, so we're going to move down to my report as chair. I attended the November 29th Community Planners Committee. There was quite a bit of discussion about hybrid meetings. Many of the planning groups felt that they wanted to continue teleconferencing, primarily for participation and lack of a space. And the Community Planners Committee itself has no designated space to meet. We used to meet at police headquarters, and we used to meet at the downtown near City Hall. None of those spaces are available anymore. So we're looking forward to what the governor may do about allowing Brown Act modifications so that we can have teleconference meetings continued, although some groups have already moved to hybrid meetings where they have people participating both in person and teleconference, which something we might consider moving to. The CPC did make a formal request to the city to ask under what parameters and support there might be for Community Planners Committee and the planning groups having hybrid meetings or teleconference meetings. We'll wait to see what happens with that. We are lucky with the Normal Heights Community Planning Group because we have the community center available to us, which is very reasonably located, especially if you ride your bike or walk, because there's not much parking around there for cars. But in any case, if we did move to in-person meetings, we would be back to that space. Although the Methodist Church right next door might offer space, I suspect.
I raised my hand, but I don't think you saw it. I was gonna say I don't know if that's allowed to do community planning group meetings in churches.
Oh, yes, certainly.
Okay, if it's allowed, then I'm happy to chat with you more about that.
Yeah,
Because we have a great space, so.
I think we have used it when voting, when the polls took
That's
over the
true.
community
For
center.
voting, we have been a site, so
Yeah.
yeah, I just didn't know what the rules were around that, but yeah, happy to chat with you all about that and open to that as well.
All right, well, thanks for the offer. The other piece of information that I thought was appropriate to mention to you from the CPC was that they're forming a subcommittee of the Community Planners Committee to deal with how the planning groups could help with the provision of affordable housing. As you may know, many of the planning groups have been accused of being sort of NIMBY about adding density around their homes and others. And the community planning group committee wanted to be sure that their concerns were balanced with actions to help make more affordable housing available. In any case, that's what they say their goal is. They're scheduling a meeting, or did have one, on the 5th. And when they provide opportunities of results and updates, I'll provide them to us. And you, planning group members, are certainly welcome to participate in those. And let's see, there was a last request was that one of the changes that the Planning Commission is going to be dealing with is changing some of the abilities of planning groups to deal with proposed changes to land use that they feel are inappropriate or not something they'd like to see happen. Usually we opine, we show up at meetings and express our views, but there's also a way to appeal, to file a formal appeal to a project. And the formal appeal process requires payment to the city of, I think it's $1,000 per appeal. And in some cases, the appeal process is multi-level. So there's $1,000 for this appeal, $1,000 for a next appeal. In any case, it's been the practice over the years that the planning groups, our group, for instance, found that if we found a project being allowed and we didn't think it was appropriate, we could make an appeal to the various levels without that $1,000 fee. To my knowledge, the Normal Heights Community Planning Group has never filed a formal appeal, but other planning groups have and had success or not. What the community planners folks felt was that this imposition in effect of $1,000 fee would limit the ability of the community to arguably protect itself from inappropriate development. So the planning group has asked the planning department and the council members and mayor to allow at least one appeal per year through the whole process by a planning group without the $1,000 fee. So in effect, what they're asking for is a compromise, saying that we'd like the no fee to continue for one appeal per year. I think that seemed appropriate. You may recall that in Normal Heights, we do have a project which many people in the community and we felt was being pursued inappropriately. That's the DeMillies Mars project. So we're on record of saying that project should be modified to meet the standards. We haven't filed an appeal, it hasn't gotten to that process yet, but if we did, under the current rules, we could do that without the $1,000 fee. Under the new rules, we would dip into our $2,000 budget and decide to spend that or not. That would be a decision of the whole board, certainly. There's no need to act on this necessarily unless you individually want to speak to your council member or the planning commission. There's going to be a hearing, I think it's tomorrow. I plan to participate and share the information that was on the letter that let's see if, I think I can bring that up. Can you see that now? Here is the letter that we provided that we were not in favor of the transit change, but I was also going to speak to the community planner groups should be allowed to have at least one appeal per year. Any comment or discussion? Nope. Okay, more updates. I sent a letter of our opposing the land use development code language change about transit priority areas. Primarily, that's changing the area from 1 mile as the walking distance from transit to a half mile to a mile. And I also pursued the request to extend the bus routes on weekends to 1 o'clock. I have had no response from either. Francis, you have your hand up.
No, I just wanted to ask, that's great. Did you send us well, a copy of your letter about the transit priority area thing and whatever was sent? I mean, I don't recall having received any record of whatever was sent about those two issues, but maybe I'm just not paying attention enough.
I don't recall whether I sent it or not, and I will send a copy, an attachment of the both items to you. Matter of fact, I'll send it to the whole board. It makes it easier.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole board, yeah, I think it'd be helpful to have that but thank you for both of those. That's great.
Well, thank the community for bringing up the issues. I just followed through. Remember, I'm your unpaid chair. And by the way, the information in the positions we take as a group are certainly important, and I hope the elected officials and others take note of those. But we're certainly free as individuals also to make contact with our elected officials or other officials to speak up about issues. Okay, I'm down to community group updates. I don't see representatives necessarily of any of the groups, but Scott's not on the line, I don't think. So do we have a representative from any of the groups listed? The Adams Avenue Business Association, El Cajon Boulevard Improvement?
Yeah, yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Gary, speak up.
El Cajon Boulevard is having a celebration tomorrow evening on the Boulevard Transit Plaza, talking about the 30-some years that the bridge lights have been in existence. And there is, and it's a creeping project. It started with the 805 Adams Avenue Bridge, consumed all 6 of them through the mid-city area. After that, jumped over to El Cajon Boulevard at the Transit Plaza. And there are now only 2 on I-15 or Route 15 that haven't been put in place, the Monroe Avenue Pedestrian Bridge and Meade Avenue. If anyone involved with Normal Heights was interested in what's going on with that, you can come over at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening to the Transit Plaza. And if you're more interested than that, you can start thinking about how to advocate for the final 2 bridges, and we will have a complete project, at least the mid-city part of it, not county.
Outstanding. What kind of funding is required in order to get the Monroe and Meade bridges lit?
I am told that if they are looking for the community's support more than its money. There are resources in there which have been collected over the years because of all the dynamics that have gone on with that project, to the point where they are confident they can fund it. But no one from Normal Heights has asked them to do it so far.
Ooh.
So it's free, sort of.
I'm a little bit hesitant to add an action agenda item, but I'm certain that, well, I'm pretty certain that everybody on this committee would be very pleased to see those additional 2 bridges lit.
I'm not sure what group in Normal Heights should be responsible for that, or what groups do what anymore, to tell you the truth.
Well,
but you could start by somebody coming tomorrow night and taking a look at and hearing what's going on. They're usually political celebrities that show up at those things.
Well, I'm busy over in Balboa Park with another event, so I can't go. But if anyone does show up there, well, let's see. Alan, you have your hand up, and Vicky. Alan, you go first.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, who should I contact? The El Cajon Boulevard Business Improvement Group?
Steve Aldana, 283-3608.
Steve Aldana.
Yes,
Okay, thanks.
thank
Vicky,
you.
I was just gonna add, I do remember having this conversation last year. I think Scott Kessler probably has a lot of information regarding Normal Heights attempts to light the bridges over the years.
Well, it's all in my head too. So if there's anything you need to know, just feel free to ask.
yeah, if it's just a request, I don't think I'm out of line by saying that I would like to ask the board members if there's any opposition to our requesting that we would very much like to see holiday lights strung on the Monroe pedestrian bridge and the Mead traffic bridge. Is there any opposition to that? So in general, Gary, you could carry forward that the planning group wants to see those lit. My question is more specific. Does it take volunteers? Does it take money? What besides just a request could we offer?
It started with volunteers and Caltrans got involved because they were afraid we were going to drop the street lights or the lights onto the freeway.
Right.
And it has emerged now. There is an organization, a group that the same people that do the street fair and make it look spick and span, hang the bridge lights every year. It's been going, it's almost to the point where they just know when to show up and where they are and where to hang them. And so that part is taken care of. There's always, if there were resources, that would never hurt anything. But mostly it takes someone to get involved so there's a better connection between the communities, which is not to say I couldn't tell one of them to show up at one of these meetings too at some point.
So if any of you are free to go to the El Cajon Boulevard Plaza Bridge, that's the one over I-15 on El Cajon Boulevard tomorrow at 5, and schmooze it up with the elected officials and others, and carry the message that the Normal Heights Planning Group would certainly like to see those bridges lit up for the holidays.
I'd be happy to do that.
Great. You could carry that forward, Gary. Are you going?
Well, of course.
Of course.
It's one of the
Very
events
good.
here on that transit plaza.
Yes. Okay. That's from the El Cajon Business Improvement Association. Is the Community Association or Urban Arts represented today?
Yeah,
Sorry?
the community association, for the community association of Normal Heights. I am on that community association as well. So I already shared about the holiday decorating competition or contest, I guess is the right term, and the biking coming up, the bike route we're doing this Saturday. And a list of the participating homes will be on our website, normalheights.ca. There also is plans for another mixer happening in Q1 2023, but no details on that yet.
Great.
Thank
I
you.
usually participate in the mixers. It's usually fun to see people in real life. Thank you. How about the Recreation Advisory Group? Well, let me put out a plug for participating in that. Remember, the Park and Rec owes us some trees because of the trimming they did. And there's some interest in knowing just what the process will be for spending the significant amount of funding that was made available for the extension of that Ward Canyon Park. I'm looking forward to that. Normal Heights History Project. I don't see anybody here. And we had a request to add a new group called the Normal Heights for Smart Growth. Is there a representative here from that group?
I can represent.
Thank you, Paul.
I have 2 items. The first one is, if my computer will stop trying to update itself.
Oh, good.
Okay. So We've looked into the transition of that the city's proposing to transform TPAs into SDAs.
Yeah.
And so far, the information and analysis provided on the from the planning department website is insufficient to make an informed decision on the changes of TPA to SDA. It appears that no analysis was done that excludes non-developable acreage under the TPA as compared to an SDA. It doesn't seem like there's been a lot of analysis with looking at SDA options at half-mile versus 1 mile. It's sort of looking like they just jumped right to SDA 1 mile. There appears to have been no formal review or analysis to potential public transport usage analysis when going from 0.5 to 1 miles under SDA. Currently, SDA maps still show areas that include public parks, Balboa Park, Fiesta Island, Mission Bay, et cetera, public rights of way, the San Diego River. This work is still too raw to be voted on at this time. Should either stay with the TPA or change the SDA to a half-mile until these other items are addressed. So that's the update on the SDA.
And you guys will be providing that commentary tomorrow?
Yes.
Great.
And we'll continue to press for more information and analysis. Basically, we want to see a data-driven decision.
What a concept! It's difficult in general to deal with the need for more housing shared with, I'll call it protecting the integrity of a community. And I hope that this group provides a middle ground, caring for affordable housing to continue to be available. Kind of laughable in Southern California to call anything affordable, while also protecting the environment and environment we live in. So thank you for your participation.
Okay, I have news on 2911 Adams Avenue.
Is that the Millies?
No, that would be the 35th and Adams. 2911 was I believe an architect's building. It's near the Polite Provisions on the south side of the street. Building was originally built, I think, in the 80s or possibly the 1950s and renovated in the 80s, but it was just a one-story commercial space. That lot has been leveled, so they got their permits for for grading, and then the lot has been graded. What is planned there, and I'll just read this straight out of Acela, is it's 72 unit, 6-story residential apartment development on 0.29 acres of land bounded by Adams Avenue in a public alley. The project utilizes modular construction technology in a transit priority area of San Diego, processed with the Complete Communities Housing Solutions Ordinance in mind. It is new construction, fully sprinklered, 5 stories type 3A over 1 story type E1A on slab on grade. So this is total 6 stories. The company that is doing this has 4 projects in California that they're working on. Their first project will be 34 apartments in Stockton, California. And that's a 5-story building. And then the second one, which is the one on Adams Avenue, is slated for completion in 2024. They're also working on a 324 apartment unit project in the College area on El Cajon, also to be completed in 2024. And then their largest project is slated for completion in 2025 and would be in Logan Heights. Would have a total of 900 apartments. The project makes use of modular units that are manufactured in Yorba Linda and then trucked in and stacked on top or next to each other using a crane. So there is a limited amount of on-site construction, and it dramatically lowers the cost. So you're basically creating manufactured homes. In the old days, we would have called those mobile homes, and we would not have stacked them up. The apartments are targeted for low and middle income, and they come in 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms, but no studios. The company's goal is to build 6,500 apartments annually in Southern California. The headquarters are in Los Angeles. Company is 125 people, and their website is impacthousing.us.
That was impact or impact?
Impact as in like a hammer hitting a house. Impacthousing.us. From our analysis, it is truly inside of a TPA. This appears to be a project of the type that we would like to see. It has a good amount of housing for families with a mix of units. It has a rapid construction schedule, and it looks to be like it's trying to meet the housing needs of low and middle income people. So we'll get more information on the details of it, like what kind of public space it has and other elements that fit with smart growth. But this is what we have right now.
Thank you for the update. I saw the demolition beginning. Just to remind everybody, 2911 is not in Normal Heights. It's arguably in the between the heights, University Heights and us. It's probably North Park area, I think.
They had a press release that said it was in North Park.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, it's like a Normal Heights, North Park, University sort of gray area.
Right. So the permitting process would have bypassed us because it would have been in the North Park Planning Group. I see some hands up. Paul, are you ready for questions?
Sure.
Greg, do you want to go first?
Well, no, I just wanted to appreciate Paul for bringing this one up. And I had actually done a little research somehow on this organization that was doing it and the desire for affordable housing. So it clearly contrasts in a lot of different ways with the 35th and Adams site. And obviously we have no jurisdiction over it, but it's good to see that the analysis of the smart growth group kind of follows what my thoughts are.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Francis.
I wondered if, Paul, if there was any, probably too early for this, but any idea what proportion of these units will be low and affordable housing and what that will translate into in terms of monthly rental? And then I wondered, probably if it's in a TPA, they don't have to provide any parking at all. Those are my 2 questions.
Sure. And those are all unknowns at this point. I think the developer actually doesn't know what the rental rates will be at this point. The press release that I read kind of skirted the question because I think they just don't really know yet. But the question on parking, they should probably have, they should have some plans that have been submitted to the city at a minimum, because they have not been approved for a building permit yet, but that is in process. They have a lot of steps to go through.
Before I call him Brian, I wonder if there's enough information on the website or information to perhaps invite a representative to perhaps our January or later meeting, just to give us an update and perhaps get some feedback from the community about what they think would be best.
Sure. I think we're planning on reaching out to their communications director, so maybe we could make that a double ask.
I would appreciate that. Brian, you're up.
I actually had two questions. One is very speculative. But the first one is I'm looking at the website for the project, and it also says there's going to be ground floor commercial space. Did I miss that, Paul, when you said that,
Oh, no, that is correct. It's a 5/1, as they say. So
okay.
yeah.
Cool. So that seems really interesting. I was trying to figure out some information about how, like, what was going to go there, but I wasn't able to find it. My Google foo was not strong enough.
It was a tough search.
I find that, like, most of this housing stuff is like, you can Google the address, you can Google for whatever, but like, unless you happen to know the developer's name or something. Somewhat related, there's a building just further down the street that used to be like a civil engineer building, like about a block and a half further west. Do we have any idea what that is or could be? Like, I think it's still an office space, but I have no idea.
Do you have an address?
I can get you one. I'll get right back to you.
Yeah, but bounce me an address and I'll see if I can scrounge something up on it.
Is there a rendering of what it? I can't visualize myself a 6-story mobile home tower.
When there are renderings on their website, and quite frankly, it looks just like any other construction that we've seen around town. It has sort of a relief on the front, has windows up the outside. You can't really tell the difference. It kind of makes sense because most interior rooms are approximately 10 by 12. And so what they've done is they've just standardized those room sizes in order to sort of stack them up and make, they call it Lego-like construction.
Next to Fortunate Son.
What do they think of next? Very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it totally makes sense. Why would you ship wood to a site to cut it when you can cut it in a factory?
Okay, any other questions? Thank you, Paul, for reading that forward.
Real quick, I just wanted to say the address is 2611 Adams.
I'm going to move through other items on the agenda, and if Paul has an update, you can provide that when he gets it. So I don't see Dan here for a historical property review update. I don't see a representative from the parks section to talk about park and trail development. Is that correct? And I don't see anyone who's involved with the utility undergrounding or street lighting working group. And traffic issues task force from Ellen, unless there's anything new. So I think we're near adjourning, unless there's something I've forgotten.
I just had a quick question, Jim, for the Park and Trails Committee. Is anyone actually on that right now?
No, the only, I've forgotten the woman's name.
Linda.
Yeah, Linda had to drop out from participating. For everybody's benefit, the two issues I think that are three issues related to park and rec facilities is one, developing access along 15 on that trail that we all took a walk on at one point several months ago. The trees to be replaced, or actually new trees to be put in at Ward Canyon Park because of the excessive trimming, and the plans that we'd like to hear from the Park and Rec Department about what they're going to do with Ward Canyon and the several $1 million they got. We're hoping that the money doesn't get eaten up in design, but we actually get some changes out there. Take out the parking, expand the dog park, install the community garden, those kinds of things. I think it's most appropriate if one of us got involved with the Adams Avenue Rec Center's advisory group to, on the one hand, learn what's going on, and the other hand, lean on them for progress. if I don't hear anything in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to contact Park and Rec Department, the Rec Center Director, or the area manager, and see if we can get them to make a report to us, the planning group, if we don't hear anything from the advisory group. Does that help your question, Vicky? I guess it does, because you didn't respond. Greg, got your hand up.
Oh, no, I was just approving of your plan.
Oh, I see. That's a thumbs up, not a hand up. Got it. Okay, any other issues? Okay, I'm going to add one. You may not know that this is a holiday season, and that's why the Christmas lights and holiday lights are going up all over the place. So however you celebrate the holidays, I hope that you have a wonderful celebration and that we get out for the bike ride. We get out and look at the Christmas lights that are out, and that we gather in any way you want with your family and friends and welcome in the new year, because we're not going to have another meeting until next year. That's the way it goes. So happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Likewise.
And I'm making my own motion to adjourn, Vicky.
I'll
I will
second.
second it. Oh, Paul seconded it already.
Okay, everybody. Well, happy holidays and thanks for your participation. We appreciate it.
Be well.
Good night.
Over and out.
See you Saturday.
Jim is so over this.
What's that, Vicky?
Oh, I said you're over this meeting.
Yes, I am over.
Go enjoy a relaxing evening.
You too.
All right.
Forget it. I have your 2 chairs on the porch.
Oh, I say that literally every third day or so. We'll pick them up.
No problem.
We'll
They're
be on
not
our
taking up
bike.
space. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye now.